Hello, everybody, and welcome to MVP by the USO. That is Military Virtual Programming, as we begin our second of two Champions Week. And my guest today, I don't think champion aptly describes her accomplishment. She is a gold medalist at the Vancouver Olympic Games. She has 8 World Cup season titles. She has 20 Crystal Globe titles, which is the most ever by any skier, male or female. 82 World Cup victories. That is a female record. Champion again. Please welcome Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey, welcome.
Hi.
There you are. Great to see you.
How are you?
I'm quite well. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Where are you coming to us from?
I'm in Los Angeles. Yep. I'm here with my 3 dogs.
Excellent. Now, Lindsey, why is it important for you to do this session with the USO?
Well, I actually really wanted to see everyone in person, but obviously with COVID, that didn't really happen. So maybe in the future, I can still do a trip. But my grandfather was in the Korean War. My uncle was a ranger, and I just really am so appreciative of everything that you guys do, that I want to help, and I don't know if this is helpful, but I'm here and I'm trying and I'm appreciative.
Well, you know, morale building is of course helpful, so we appreciate your participation here. I know a lot of people are excited to hear our conversation and get a chance to ask you some questions, and anybody can do that simply by using the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Simply type in your question, let us know who you are, where you are, and where you're from, and we will get to as many of those questions as possible. So, Lindsey, you mentioned that you have quite a few members of your family that are in the military. Have they spoken to you about their service? Have you had a chance to kind of pick their brains at all about what they were doing while they were serving?
Yeah, I mean, my grandpa never really talked about it. He passed away like 2 years ago, but he always said it was the best free trip he's ever had. Free trip around the world. He said it was very cold, and I mean, he actually had my grandmother send clothes to local kids that were there because they didn't have any. It was some really nice stories, and my uncle said it was very brutal, very, very brutal training for them, which I can relate to, not as extreme, and but I kind of related to him on that. And I also spent actually, we race in Garmisch in Germany, and so we spend a lot of time with families there that were based there. My uncle was actually based there for a little bit as well. So, yeah, they told me a little bit, some stories here and there.
Yeah, well, I think if your uncle was cold, if your grandfather was cold during his service, probably had the opposite experience of my grandfather. He was lucky enough to be stationed in Hawaii during World War II. So he definitely was not.
Yes, he was the opposite. Yeah.
During his service. Yeah. Lindsey, let's get right to a couple questions. This one comes from Jared Matson. He's at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida. And he says, as someone who travels quite a bit, what's the one thing you love about traveling? And what's the one thing you hate about traveling?
Well, I'm going to start with the hate first. I hate packing, and I hate like bags. And when I traveled for skiing, we used to travel with so many ski bags. I think I would have between 6 and 9 huge ski bags, and then plus my clothes. So it was a lot. What I love most about traveling is just meeting new people and experiencing different cultures. In skiing, we went to a lot of German-speaking countries, which is nice. I speak German, but then also, we went to the Olympics in Korea. That was really a total different experience for me. I'd never been to Asia before. So just, having that cultural experience is one of the best things that I've had with traveling.
Yeah, you always have to check a bag, don't you? You're always traveling with lots of equipment.
Yes, I like going to places where I don't have to check a bag. If I cannot check a bag, then that is the place that I want to go.
Now, you mentioned you're fluent in German. What's the origin of that?
I went to Europe when I was 9 for the first time to race, and I just couldn't communicate with the kids my age, and I came home very confused, and I said I wanted to learn German. And so I did, just kind of the language of ski racing, because you've got Austrians, Germans, Suits rollers, Swiss, they all speak German. So it was really, really helpful. And I could speak to my friends.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you consider that to be kind of the language of skiing, because you're right, there's so many different countries so involved in skiing that would speak.
Yeah, it's definitely the language of ski racing for sure. I mean, French maybe number 2, but I'd say German is absolutely the most spoken language.
That's pretty cool. Let's get to one more question before our first live look in. This one comes from Eric Bernal. Thank you for supporting the armed forces. After your knee injury, you showed your resiliency and bounced back. What words of encouragement do you have to all athletes and soldiers while getting back into the fight?
Well, I mean, what you guys do is so far beyond what I have ever done or will ever do. So I don't know if I could give you that much advice, but I think you guys are all much more resilient than I am. I just had knee surgery, and I focused on the goal, which was coming back. And, I tried to make as much progress as I could every day, small progress. Obviously some days you're not making any progress and you're taking 2 or 3 steps back. But I just kind of try to stay in the moment and put one foot in front of the other. And the more, I think long term, the more scary it is. So I just, try to do as much as I can in the here and now.
Yeah, and that's really great advice too when you're trying to come back from injury, is small accomplishments, small steps, and really consider those and appreciate them. You're not going to get better immediately, and so you really have to appreciate the steps along the way.
Exactly.
Lindsey, you want to go to a live look in right now, and we are going to be going to Brett Claremont, who is at Army Mountain Warfare Training Center in Vermont. Brett, if you could start your video and join us, please.
Hey, Brett.
There he is. Hey, Brett.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for joining us.
Not bad. Yeah, thank you.
What
Yes,
question?
I'm Brett Claremont from the Army in Jericho. So I'm the medical branch chief at that organization there.
Amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah, great. Thanks. So a couple questions I guess we got set up for you. The first one is basically in your competitive year, you really stayed at the high level and really competitive and winning for such a long time. I know that it takes a lot of time and effort to be there. So what did you find as a great or driving force to kind of keep you pushing yourself to be at that level?
That's a great question. I mean, I feel like once I got to the top, it was much harder to stay there. And a lot of people doubted me and talked about me. So I feel like that was the best thing for me. It really motivated me. And I like when people say that I can't do something, because I love proving them wrong. And I just kind of had, daily goals, always trying to improve. I think the one thing with being successful in anything is that there's always someone that's going to take your place if you become complacent and stop working hard. So I just always kept trying to up the ante and be better and faster every day.
Yeah, great.
I don't know if I was supposed to swear, but sorry.
It was very passionate. It was a very passionate answer. So we can forgive that one. Brett, I know you got another question for Lindsey.
Yeah, I got one more if we got time. Basically, you've led a very accomplished career and life, really. But if you could pick one thing, just first comes to your mind, like the accomplishment you're most proud of, what do you think?
Honestly, it's my foundation, and it has nothing to do with skiing. I think the best thing that's come out of my accomplishments on the hill is just being able to help other people. I was inspired by my idol Peekaboo Street when I was 9. I met her for 1.5 minutes at an autograph signing, and since then I just wanted to be an Olympian. So I just feel like if I can give kids a little bit of a push and a little bit of a motivation to be better and to follow their dreams, and that's the best accomplishment that I could ever achieve.
Great. There, can I have a follow-up?
What? You broke up. Sorry, I didn't hear
Sorry,
it.
Brett, your connection's a
Do I-
little spotty. Could you-
Do I get a follow-up question?
Sure, why not?
Sure, go for it.
Right. Yeah, so we all have like goals that we've achieved that we're proud of, and not in a negative way at all, but are there any goals that you really strove for and tried to achieve that just eluded you?
Yeah, there was one that really still irks me. I had 82 World Cup wins, and there's one guy that had 86. And so that really bothers me. Really, really bothers me. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that record will be broken at some point as well. So, I didn't break it, but I broke a lot of other ones. So I'm, not super happy that I didn't break it, but I'm dealing with it. I'm getting over it slowly.
Hey, we appreciate your questions, man.
All right.
Brett.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you, Brett.
We're going to go right to another live look. He is also at the Army Mountain Warfare Training Center in Vermont. Please welcome Dustin Dearborn. Dustin, welcome.
Hey, Dustin.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Lindsay.
How's it going?
Good. Yeah, so I work up in Vermont as well at the training center up there with Brett.
Awesome.
I was actually wondering if you might be able to talk a little bit about the gravity core training that you did, kind of like in the early years, and the stuff that had more of a focus on kind of all mountain skiing as opposed to just skiing inside the gates, and maybe about how that kind of helped with your development as an athlete.
I mean, well, I grew up in Minnesota, so, literally there was nothing else to do but train in the gates. And then, when I moved out to Colorado when I was 12, I definitely was exposed to more, off-piste skiing or all mountain skiing. And I definitely think that helped me become a better skier. But I was really, really focused on the training aspect. I mean, I felt like most times there was powder and I was the only one left on the training course and everyone else was out catching freshies. But I will say, I think it is important to have, just an all around ability in the sport, and, off piste and, all mountain terrain. It's all really important. I think at this point, basically in my whole life, I think I should always avoid moguls because my knees hurt just looking at them. But everything else is good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Nice. I guess next question, probably kind of an easy one. Do you still feel that you have like the motivation and the time for like non-competitive, free ride skiing for yourself?
Yeah, actually, I've gotten quite a few days of skiing in this winter, which I am really excited about. Last year, I was kind of still on the getting over ski racing phase. Like I was really depressed and didn't really know how to, ski and not be racing. And now I really enjoy it. I've been skiing a lot with friends and trying to get, powder days in, and powder definitely feels better on my knees than icy slopes when I was racing. So that was nice. But I've also had some fun, après ski. That's a new element that I have never really experienced. So that was fun. But, skiing is such a great family sport. And I skied with my sister for the first time since we were 10. So just, really enjoying that time together has been nice.
Gotcha. Cool.
Dustin, really appreciate you joining us, man. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Oh, no, I was just wondering if there was skiing up in Vermont. I mean, my friends live in Vermont, and I was wondering if you ever got out skiing.
Yeah, we've, especially in the northern part of the state, we've got 3 or 4 resorts all in pretty close proximity. And it's been a really good season up until the last couple of days. It's getting like into the 40s. So it's gonna beat things down a little bit, but it's been fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got some days out there.
Yeah. In the 40s, everyone breaks out their board shorts and starts playing frisbee.
Right. Yeah.
Dustin, thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate you. Be safe and healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay safe, Dustin. Thank you.
Thanks.
Lindsay, you were talking a little bit about your knee injuries. when you're training for your events, are you going as hard as you would go in competition? Because, you know, a lot of sports, people want to avoid injuries, so they're taking it kind of easy in practice. But I imagine in downhill skiing, you can't really take it as easy as you might have in some other sports.
Yeah, that's kind of been my problem. I just don't really have, it's like 100% or nothing. It's like, just my foot is always on the gas, unfortunately. Well, I don't know, fortunately. I always tried to kind of pace myself, but anytime that we were training with other nations, or, we had the times live and I could see, who was winning the training, then the competitor in me came out and I always had to push it harder. So, and I've definitely crashed. I think I broke my arm in training. I blew my knee out for the second time in training. I broke my ankle in training. So yeah, I think I probably should have taken it a little bit easier, but also, you have to practice for what you do. And if you don't push the limits in training, then you're not going to be able to do the same thing in the races. So
Again, I mean, competitive skiing is a matter of hundredths of seconds. So you really need to know, what your limits are and how fast you can go to really train.
Yeah,
that makes
exactly.
sense. Here's another question from the chat section. This comes from Kiki Knickerbocker, Naval Station, Norfolk, Virginia. How can you find the motivation after taking time off from training, whether it be an injury or simply from a vacation? What motivates you, especially the further along you get in your career, you've got more accomplishments. Are you less motivated? What motivates you to get back out there and train again?
I'm just a one-upper, so I always try to one-up myself. And, in my skiing career, it was like, if I got one, accomplishment, I would look for the next one. And I would just kind of always keep moving forward, always looking for the next thing, which doesn't really help in real life, to be honest with you. It's nice to be satisfied sometimes. But same thing in the gym. I want to be able to squat a certain amount of weight, and I want to be able to clean a certain amount of weight. And oftentimes in days when I'm tired and I'm not reaching those goals, then that frustrates me and gets me even more motivated to work out harder the next day. So it's kind of finding those little things, those like interior motivations that will drive you. And obviously having success was the number one driving force in all of that. But now I work out honestly just as hard as I did before, just in a much different way. And I just really enjoy pushing myself. I like, being at the point where I can barely breathe, and, knowing that I've pushed myself to the max is a really, invigorating and experience, and I just feel better for it. So it's all about finding what motivates you, really.
Yeah, when I saw your most recent Instagram post of you working out too, so you definitely work out hard in the gym. That was very cool to see.
Thanks.
Kiki, I hope that answered your question. Lindsey, this next one comes from Christopher Jesus. He says, "Hi, Lindsey. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to talk to all of us. What was one of your biggest challenges starting your career, and any advice for a new skier like him?"
Well, I think for a new skier like you, it's all about just having fun and being safe. Don't go too crazy. A lot of my friends are, they're trying to get into it and they hurt themselves. So let's just take it easy, one step at a time. We'll start with some pizza and then we'll go with some French fries. But I think just, being in an athletic stance is one of the biggest things that I recommend. That's pretty much all I can tell you without actually being there with you. And some of the setbacks that I had, when I was starting my career, I just had a lot of people that didn't believe in me. I overheard coaches telling me that I was, not going to make it, and they had already put their money on someone else. And so again, like, those things kind of motivate me, and I remember them. I always store those in the memory bank, and use that emotion for motivation whenever I need it. But I also had just a hard time finishing races. I had a couple seasons where I didn't finish 50 out of 55 races. And I, contemplate, and that was the only time in my career I've contemplated quitting. But instead I just kind of doubled down. I borrowed some money and I hired a trainer, and I got my first podium the year after that. So I just bet on myself.
Wow. The first of many, 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 many trips to the podium in your illustrious career. That's awesome. Lindsey, you want to go to another live look in right now? This is Victoria Goldfib. I hope I'm saying that right, Victoria. I apologize if I'm not. She is at Fort Drum, New York. Victoria, welcome.
Thank you so much. You almost got it right, Goldfib, but no one can ever pronounce it, so I'm totally
Close.
used to it.
Thank you for correcting me. We're glad that you're here.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you so much, and huge thank you to Lindsey. Of course, you're doing this. Happy International Women's Day. It's huge that we're doing this today, and it's awesome to celebrate women and to celebrate like all of your accomplishments and all the amazing things you've done throughout your career. So a lot of awesome questions already been asked, but I was wondering, like, what goes on through your mind, like, while you're professionally racing, like before the start of every race? Like, did you have any specific rituals or thoughts you would go through as you prepared to get out the gate?
I mean, it kind of depended on the day, honestly. Sometimes I was feeling like I didn't have enough energy, so I'd try to kind of do some breathing exercises and amp myself up. Sometimes I was too amped up and I had to like calm myself down. So I kind of used breathing as a ritual to, pace my energy. And so if you watch my racing, like especially in the last Olympics, I'm like breathing crazy and I look weird, and that's why I'm just trying to amp myself up. But I also listen to music sometimes. But once I step into the starting gate, it's kind of like you have to be in the zone at that exact moment. And if I'm not, then that usually means I'm not going to have a good day. But that was the trickiest part, was figuring out how to get into that zone basically on command.
Very cool. Victoria, unmute yourself for a second there, so I can ask you, do you have any other questions for Lindsey or anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just one more. What is your absolute favorite hill to ski on, no matter where it may be in the world? I mean, you've seen some of the most amazing and beautiful places out there, but what's the one place you always want to go back to?
I probably would say Cortina, Italy. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's not really the place that you go. It's not where you go for powder skiing, or it's not really the best skiing per se, but it's the most beautiful, stunning place I've ever been in the Dolomites. And the people there are great. The restaurants are great. It's kind of like the combination of everything. And I would go back there any day.
Sounds amazing. Victoria, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
Thank you, Victoria. And
Stay
happy
tuned.
International Women's Day to you too. Like, you are celebrated. I'm not, you are. So just remember that.
Thank you, Lindsey. I appreciate it very much.
That's great. Thank you again, Victoria. Appreciate you. How cool. I totally forgot that it is International Women's Day. That's a wonderful thing.
Chris.
Very appropriate that we're having. I noticed that on my Twitter feed this morning, and it did resonate with me, and I'm glad that Victoria pointed that out. Let's get to a couple more questions from the Q&A box. Tracy Green would like to know, what was your most memorable Olympics?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think, honestly, 2002 was my favorite Olympics. I mean, I didn't win anything, but it was right after 9/11, and there was so much tension, and everyone, you guys did such an amazing job securing the location and securing all of our venues. But when I walked into the opening ceremonies, a lot of people didn't walk because they were so scared. But when I walked in the opening ceremonies and hearing the stadium just erupt, it was the most emotional, experience of my life. And I will never forget it. I felt like the nation had come together, and, we were all celebrating our unity at that moment. And it was very, very special. So I was really thankful to be a part of that.
That's a really great memory indeed. Lindsey, Scott Dryly would like to know, he says he loves to ski a lot. he hasn't got the chance to ski this year. What do you look forward to when you're skiing now that you're in the skiing for pleasure portion of your life?
I look forward to powder. I like, wait and, look at the weather report and I'm like, am I gonna go skiing this week? Is it gonna snow? And then I kind of base my plans off the weather schedule. It's definitely a lot easier on my knees, when I'm skiing in powder, and crashing is much easier as well. But I do like groomers, and I also, again, like the off-race ski is really fun. Just being able to sit outside on the patio and hang out with your friends. I never really got to do that pretty much ever in my life, so it's been nice.
Cool. And no moguls. No moguls.
No, absolutely no moguls. You will not pay me to go down moguls. That will not happen. No.
Your knees, our collective knees all thank you for moguls. Lindsey, want to get to another live look in right now. We're going out to the Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center here in California. And if you guys would like to log on and join us, that would be great. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey Lindsey, good evening.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. I'm happy to be
You
here.
guys introduce yourselves, and whatever questions you might have for Lindsey, just ask away.
Hey, sounds good. I'm Master Maxwell. I'm the operations chief here at MWTC. I had one question for you. We really pride ourselves on telemark skiing up here. That's kind of our thing. So I was wondering if you've ever done any telemark skiing ever and what you think about it.
First of all, that's impressive. I have never telemark skied. I feel like I wouldn't be very good at it. I think that my knees would probably hurt more. But I'm impressed. Like I'm always impressed by telemarkers because I feel like I would not be good at it. I'm not athletic enough for that. So hats off to you guys.
Awesome. You should give it a try sometime. It's really fun.
I definitely think I need to check it off the bucket list. It's definitely on the bucket list. So I'm definitely going to give it a try before I have to have my knee replaced.
Hey guys, just so we all know what you're talking about, can you describe telemark skiing for us?
So telemark skiing is basically, you have free hills. So free the hill, free the mind. And you're basically dropping a knee as you ski. One ski moves forward and one ski moves back in your turn.
Wow, that's cool.
That's why I don't do it.
Foot is actually not fixed. You're more like a cross-country ski.
Exactly.
It's like you're lunging.
Lunges all the way down the mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's a good workout. Who else has a question for Lindsey there? Please introduce yourself and ask away.
So my name is Sergeant Couchman. I'm an instructor up here as well. My question is, what are some of your more favorite professional level exercises and then a novice exercise that you do for training?
I mean, I always loved doing cleans. When I was preparing for a season, I don't know, I felt like it was a great combination of like explosiveness and strength. I don't know, I always felt like it was a good gauge for me to see how strong I was before the season. And I just like doing it. I feel like, you do minimal reps, and I don't really like doing high rep things. But I don't know, more recently, I have a trainer out here, Gunnar Peterson, who's a huge supporter of all of you guys. And he's got some SEALs friends that always train at his gym that I hang out with. But he's got so many toys in his gym. I just love, playing around. Like he's got so many crazy things, like different wheelbarrows and I can't even describe most of them, but they torture me and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
You, man. How about you, sir? Do you have a question for Lindsey?
Hey, Lindsey, my name's Staff Sergeant Bartolo. I'm also an instructor here at the Mountain Warfare Training Center. When you were young and just starting out skiing, who kept you on track, or was it solely self-discipline?
It's a good question. I think, my dad definitely kept me on track. From the time, I started ski racing at 7 and then I wanted to be in the Olympics at 9. And so 9, like, what do I know at 9? So my dad kind of, steered me and always took me to the races. I never was one of those people that got, distracted by other things. It was more so he just helped guide me to know where to go. I definitely had a lot of friends that were, more talented than I was, and they were always out partying, before my races, and that was just never me. I was always very focused on what I had to do. But yeah, once I turned 16, then it was like all me, but my dad definitely helped me get to where I needed to go.
Hey guys, what part of California you guys located in? Are you northern or southern?
So we're northern in Mono County, so we're just about an hour north of Mammoth Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
nice. Like I ski at,
Good place.
is that where you guys ski at Mammoth?
We spend a lot of time. If you've spent time there, you've probably seen some of the Marines skiing around there before.
Awesome. Yeah, we used to have training camps there every spring. And my friend Stacy Cook, who is an Olympian, she lives there. So I'm sure you guys have met her, but yeah, I love Mammoth. It's a great place.
I love Mammoth too. There's that great almost 90-degree drop off up there at the top of the mountain. That's always,
Oh yeah, Cornishville, I think you're talking about.
But we train downhill, like right from once you get over the cornice, we would train downhill. It's fun.
When you guys are training up there, do you guys use any sort of special gear?
Not really anything out of the norm. It's mostly the only thing that kind of we get questions about a lot is the telemark gear, because it's not as popular anymore. But other than that, everything's pretty normal cold weather type gear, just with a military flair on it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool. That's great. You guys get to train at Mammoth occasionally too. Guys, we really appreciate you joining us, and please stay safe and stay healthy.
Yes, stay safe.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you guys. Take care of yourself.
Yes, thank you. Well, that was pretty cool. Learned something every day.
Yeah,
Oh my,
that's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, Chris.
Pretty questions here, Lindsay. Let's go to David Bruce. CW4 David Bruce from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Can you please talk about anything that you do to calm down after a major event? In the Olympics, you compete in multiple events, and you can't really stay up and live on the high of a great event when you need to get some sleep and be able to perform again either later that day or the next day. So what do you do to quell those emotions after a big event?
Well, I mean, it was definitely hard. I think the Olympics were the hardest because I did have a race, immediately the next day. And I really didn't get to celebrate at all. I did the medal ceremony. We had like a pretend toast, and I think I had one sip of champagne, and then I was off to bed. But for me, I always didn't have that much of a problem sleeping. I always kind of fell asleep pretty easily. That's thankfully a natural talent that I have. It's kind of runs in the family. Like people fall asleep at the dinner table. But if I ever had a hard time, I would try to do some meditation where I kind of try to relax every part of my body from my feet all the way to my head, and just kind of take the time to breathe deeply. And if that didn't work, then melatonin.
That always helps too. But you know what? Breathing is such a huge part of it that not everybody really thinks about. I mean, if your heart rate is getting up, you want to just kind of try to even it out and breathe deeply and big.
Yeah.
And that really, really helps.
My uncle said, he was a ranger, and he said the one thing he also learned being a ranger is how not to sleep. So he doesn't sleep ever. So I feel for all of you guys that can't sleep.
I love my sleep too much not to sleep.
I know.
Lindsay, this one comes from Lisa Quancy. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. And she's got a little bit of a smart alecky question for you. Do you ever slum it on over to the East Coast?
For skiing or just in general?
She probably means for skiing.
Skiing. Yeah, I mean, I did ski in Vermont a few times. Some of my good friends skied in Stowe, and in Maine we had a lot of races. Sugar Bowl or Sugar Bush, I always get them confused. And then Killington, and we raced and we trained a lot at the Olympic Training Center in New York. What's the ski area there? Anyways,
in New York.
Yeah. So I don't know why I'm blanking on it right now, but Whiteface. There you go. Got it.
Lisa, I hope that answers your question, and thank you very much. She sent us a few questions actually, but some of them have already been answered.
But also, I do want to say that I'm from Minnesota, so it's not like the East Coast is slugging it for me. You know, it's like Minnesota is probably worse than East Coast. So
Yeah, definitely. And also, you know, obviously you've done a lot of skiing on the East Coast because all those great Vermont locations that you just mentioned. So
yeah, exactly.
You've done a lot of slumming it in the East Coast. Donna Gunther from Naval Amphibious Base Coronado, California would like to know, what was your exercise and training schedule leading up to preparing for the Olympics?
It was really intense. I would train twice a day, 5 days a week. And then I would do a single session one other time a week. I did a lot of cardio. I would do, we would count it by the hours. I don't remember how many hours it was, but it was at least, 30 to 90 every day. And then I was doing, 3 to 4 hours in the weight room every day. Obviously leg strength, agility, core, all of the above. And back before I was so injured, I used to actually do 3 sessions a day. I would train before breakfast, after breakfast, and then after lunch. So it's a lot, but just like anything, just like everyone on this call, that's your job, and you want to perform your best. And so, I do what my trainers tell me, and it made me better.
That takes a lot of discipline to train before breakfast. I can't do anything before a cup of coffee. So that's very, very impressive.
Once you get, it was pretty brutal at first, but once you get used to it, it's actually pretty nice, but I can't say it was fun.
Lindsey, speaking of breakfast, Meredith, who is checking in on Scott Driley's account, was wondering what you like to have for breakfast.
Right now I'm doing protein shakes for breakfast. I really like it. It's like banana, some frozen blueberries, beet extract, some bioproteins like collagen stuff, and then my protein powder, and that's it. And then my second breakfast after I work out is eggs, onions, mushrooms, sriracha, avocado. That's my daily plan. I am very monotonous and boring, but I do enjoy it.
That's very Lord of the Rings of you, by the way, to have a second breakfast.
I mean, breakfast is the best meal of the day besides dessert, so.
I like to do a green drink in the morning. I'll blend a bunch of vegetables together. So.
Yeah, I can't do that. No, that's one step too far, Chris. One step too far.
It's a little earthy. It's not for everybody. But again, once you get used to it, it's not so bad. Peter Patera would like to know. He says, "Aloha, Lindsey." So I assume that he is in Hawaii. What does a chill or lazy day look like for you? And also, have you picked up any new hobbies during the COVID lockdown?
Great question. What do I do in a lazy day? I love Law and Order. It's a thing. I watch a lot of it. So for me, the best days are when I get to chill on the couch with my dogs, watch Law and Order, have some Ben and Jerry's, watch more Law and Order, hang out with my friends or my sister, who's far cooler than I am. And yeah, just chill. Cause I never really get time to just actually sit around. So if I ever have the opportunity, I seize it.
Yeah, that's great. Law and Order actually got me through studying for the bar exam. That was my study break. Every night at midnight, it would come on A&E, and then I would take a break from study and watch Law and Order.
It's always on. Every day it's somewhere. There's a marathon always on. It's very reliable and consistent. That's why I also like
Forensic Files. You can always find a Forensic Files. Same
exactly.
Lindsey, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you joining us here. And before we wrap up, I do want to give you an opportunity to offer some words of encouragement to all of our servicemen and women who are joining us right now.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, thank you. You guys are so incredible in so many ways. And I've always been thankful. I've always been appreciative. And you guys are risking your lives every day so that we can be where we are and enjoy the liberties and rights that we have. So thank you so much. Please stay safe. Please take care of yourselves. And we are all here supporting you. So remember that every day.
Those are great words, Lindsay. We appreciate that. And I want to let you know that this is truly a nationwide and even a worldwide event. People are joining us from Virginia, Germany, South Korea, Vermont, Nebraska, Louisiana, North Carolina, California, Texas, Washington, Florida, Nevada, Japan, Italy, the UK, Illinois, Okinawa, Ohio, New York, North Dakota, and Georgia. So lots of people all across the world really appreciate you joining us, Lindsay. So we can't thank you enough. And best of luck to you in the future. And we want to thank everybody so much for joining us today in our MVP Champions sessions. Don't worry, there will be more coming, and you can get as much information as you need at www.uso.org/MVP. We can't thank
you guys
for joining us, and we'll see you on down the road.
Sounds good. Take care, everybody.